Recording. All right. Well, welcome everybody. And you're here with Billy Cuthrell and Jade Harley from Progressive Music Center. And Jade, say hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And so we're actually recording this. I know they're low turnout for a live webinar, but that's okay. We're going to record it and just talk about our Rock Academy program and just do a brief overview of what it's all about and how Rock Academy came about, and kind of where we're going with it and what we hope to achieve with moving forward with our new Rock Academy program and that sort of thing. So just to kind of jump right in, again, I'm Billy Cuthrell. I'm with Progressive Music Center. I'm with Jade Harley. Jade works in both shops in the Briar Creek and the Wake Forest location. And just to give you a brief rundown before I turn it over to Jade for kind of where we're going with the Rock Academy program. Rock Academy actually started in 1996, so we're going back quite a ways. We get on back there into the mid-90s, and I actually started Progressive Music Center in 1992, and around about 95, 94, 95, we started discussing the idea of having our drum studio, because we were a drum and percussion only studio. We actually started discussing the possibility of what if we were to take our drum students and place them with guitar and bass students and other keyboard students, vocal students, and that sort of thing. What if we were to put them in a band setting that happened year round? Because we had just done a really great summer camp program in 1995, the summer of 95, that was really that concept. And it was one of the first rock school, unbeknownst to us at the time, there was no Google or internet, so you couldn't really research it all that well. But unbeknownst to us, it was one of the very first rock school formats in the country. And there was a place, California, Skips Music. Skips had a program called Stairway to Stardom, I think was the name of that one, and that did really well. But we didn't know we were kind of on the cusp of doing this rock school format. So after we did the first one in 95, we were asked by several of the students who participated in that particular summer camp, is there a way to do this, to keep going with it? Can we do it, year round? Absolutely, that'd be great. And so we basically took the summer camp format of what we did for our very first summer camp, where we put the kids into performing bands and playing bands, and just kept them together. And so we started this concept. I think at the time we called it Band Jam, I think was the name of it. So we've had several name iterations over 20 years, but at the time, I think we called it Band Jam, and Band Jam lasted until about 2002, 2003, and then somewhere around 2004, we went from Progressive Percussion Drum Studios to Progressive Music Center because we were no longer just a drum and percussion only school. And so at that time, we also changed over to Rock Academy. So it's been going ever since. And it's, again, one of the longest running band programs of its kind in the country. And it's done really well. And I've always been really, really pleased with the bands. There's a lot of, if you actually look on, if you take a look at our YouTube page here, that's actually up on the site here. If you go through, you can actually go to if you go to our, oh, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can actually see a lot of our bands in action. So it gives you a great bunch of great clips there of summer camps, Rock Academy, and that sort of thing. And I'm always really proud of these kids because it's really great to see how far they've come in just a short amount of time. And we see them every day and hear them every week. So it's always really cool, when we have other people who come and they see them in concert and they say, wow, man, these kids they're doing really fantastic. So if you just go down here to the Rock Academy and summer camp shows, we have a playlist that has all of those set up, and you can just see past performances from Rock Academy and our summer camp. So that's kind of where it came from. That's just a brief history of the Rock Academy program itself. And again, just to kind of summarize that, started in 96 after we did a successful summer camp run. We just wanted a year-round program, brought that forward, called it Band Jam. Now it's called Rock Academy, and it's just kind of grown from there. And we've always just used it to really put kids into bands. So jump to present day, and now Jade is back with us. Jade worked with us for several years, and then broke our hearts and moved away, went to Virginia Beach, And but luckily she's back. So there is a silver lining to all this. Jade Harley is back at Progressive Music Center. We were so happy to have her back. But Jade went and worked with a national franchise that does this now, and just got a lot of really good experience there. And when she called and said, "Hey, I'm moving back," we said, "Man, please come back. We'd love to have you." And then when she came back and started telling us about everything she was doing, I said, "Oh my gosh, this is serendipitous timing. We would love to have you. Come on back." And Jade jumped in, and she just brought back a ton of tremendous ideas, just based on what we currently have and what she's seen that goes on out in other places and that sort of thing. So we're revamping it. And so that kind of brings us to present day. And I'm just going to kind of turn it over to Jade and let Jade just kind of talk about what it is we are going to work on and what we're going to do. Take it away, Jade. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Well, basically the idea is currently we've got our kids in like a regular old band format, but we're moving it to more of a group setting, kind of like a soccer, a regular sports team where kids go kind of in and out. So the kids will have a chance to going forward play with not just a group of other 3 or 4 other kids. It'll be 10 or more kids or something. They might be able to they'll have their their main instrument is guitar, but they might have a chance to oh, we need someone to play bass on this song over here in this group right now. So they'll have a chance to work not just with the same kids, but multiple kids, multiple personalities, musicianship and everything. So they'll be able to jump in and just learn more that way. They'll be able to be more genres and everything and more experience. So we're just kind of opening it up a bit. And we're also pushing, to get the groups, our kids to be playing more often, like maybe every few months or so we'll have like big show and everything. So just kind of making it a lot more fun and it's already fun, but just, kind of opening it up a bit.
Cool. So really, essentially, I guess kind of what we're doing is we're allowing our students who are involved in Rock Academy, we're really allowing them, or putting them, not allowing them, they can play all they want, but we're really putting them in a position where instead of being in just one band, they can really play in multiple bands.
Mm-hmm.
They have that ability, I guess, if you're a bass player and say in the way the program is set up now, if you're a bass player, what would happen is I guess that you would just play in that one band that you are assigned to. So if just for example, we have a band called Idealistic Citizen, who is just fantastic, by the way. Idealistic Citizen, they just played the Cat's Cradle and did a big battle of the bands over there. And I was going to see if I had a clip of them here, but Idealistic Citizens, just a fantastic group. But for example, if you're the bass player in Idealistic Citizen, you may be assigned to just Idealistic Citizen. And the way that we're talking about doing it now is you would actually have an opportunity to play with more people in different groups and different settings. So one bass player might play with one assigned set of kids or students for X amount of songs, and then he might also, or she might also be able to play with other students for X amount of songs. So it really just gives them the option, instead of playing with just one band continuously, now they have the option to play with multiple groups, and they can play more, right? I mean, if one band has 4 or 5 songs, they might be in 3 or 4 different outfits that might have 10 or 15 songs. So really, I think if we set it up moving forward like this, it really just gives everybody even more chance and opportunity to play.
Oh yeah, and that's really what we want the kids. We want them to have fun like that and get all that experience and everything. It's just so much better that way. And it's a ton more fun.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest question about Rock Academy, and this is something we talk about all the time, even with just lessons in general. Why take lessons? Why get involved? Why would I do, Rock Academy? Because it is a commitment. I mean, and that's one thing I think we do need to point out, is that it's just like anything else. This is an activity that, is just like your soccer, your basketball, your baseball, your football. That band is your team, and they are looking, to those teammates who are their band members to be there and to be at the rehearsals, because a band is just that. It's multiple people. It's not, band is not singular. It's not one person. There's no I in band. And, so ultimately, it is a commitment. We do weekly rehearsals. The students are expected to be there. There is a cost to it. People, it is not a free program. People sometimes assume that it goes hand in hand with the lessons. It does go hand in hand with the lessons, but there is a cost to it. We do have some overhead, and we do have staff we have to pay, to do these. But, ultimately, I think that is really the key thing is why get involved? Why would we want to, spend another hour outside of our lessons being there? And I think the answer to that, and Jade, I think you'll agree with me, I think the answer to that is experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, what would be if somebody came in and said, well, okay, I just want to do lessons, and we said, well, we want you to do lessons and Rock Academy, what would be your answer to that? Why would we want to see them doing both?
Oh my gosh, there's just so much benefit to doing that. First of all, why wouldn't you want to be in a band and play out? Like it's fun. You learn how the music works all together, like your instrument with other instruments. Like how songs come together. Like you're applying your knowledge in a real sense in Rock Academy. Like you're applying what you've been doing in lessons. So doing that, you're learning responsibility, how to work with other people, and there's just that sense of accomplishment, like you just, it's, I don't know, I think it's awesome. It's, and you build, those relationships, and it's real world lessons, the kids are also learning. So, and, that's honestly, it's the best way for them to get even better at their instrument too. Like, cause you have goals, you've got people who are, counting on you to learn your stuff and everything. So, and if so it's a great way for the kids to stay responsible and on top of what they're learning and be excited about it, most importantly. So,
absolutely.
And that's, I think it's awesome. And I have seen it work over and over, and just comes like, and it's not just like, oh, I'm going to go in my lesson, taking lessons are awesome. But when you go in, you're like, wow, I've got, I really want to work on this, so then I can go and, be with my friends, because that's, your bandmates, they're your friends, your family, kind of thing. They're the people that, you're making something with. And that just gives you a sense, the kids a sense of pride, and when it all comes together, like the shows, like, oh my gosh, it's such a self-esteem builder too for the kids. Like you just see it, like it's awesome. Like I've seen so many kids grow, and some, maybe like shy at first, they really grow into, their roles in the band, and, they get more confident, and you can just see it, like they shine more. They're, a little more outgoing. Like it's so many benefits. It's just awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's often been said, and I can, tell you firsthand, there is no greater feeling than playing on stage and playing in front of people. I mean, it's there is absolutely no greater feeling. And I was watching a piece one time with Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, and he was talking about, it's no secret that Steven Tyler had a tremendous drug problem, but there was an interview with him, and they asked him, how he was able to finally kick, his just raging drug addiction. And he said, music, playing in front of people. And he said, there is, of all the drugs I ever took in my life, there is absolutely no greater feeling. And there's nothing that ever takes the place of being up there in front of people and playing, whether it's 20 people, 200 people, 2,000 people, 200,000 people. It doesn't matter. Just being able to get up there and that accomplishment, just whatever it does. And we'll talk about this more in a few minutes, but whatever it does to the brain, it's just amazing. And, and I don't know if it's just a combination of nerves, adrenaline, and all the other things that go along with it, when you're playing. But gosh, I mean, I just remember, coming along and playing in bands. I started out like everybody else, playing, small high school bands, and then through later in life, I started playing with, just moved along and played much bigger venues and much bigger bands. But the feeling was the same, no matter when I played or where I played. It was always fantastic. It was so amazing. And to me, what was also really cool was taking what I was learning on the instrument. I would learn this new, I'd learn a new drum fill, or I'd learn a new beat, or I'd learn a new whatever, and applying it and actually seeing it used in a real world setting was just absolutely amazing to me. And it just always blew my mind that, wow. And that's that sense of accomplishment, you know, and we were talking about that earlier, just the sense of accomplishment people get, you know, when they're able to do something like that and they actually see it from, you know, the rehearsal room to the practice room to the stage, you know what I mean? And I think that's a big thing too, you know, and that's why I just tell people, why get involved? Because this is your soccer game. You know, I mean, if you're gonna play on a soccer team, you go to your practices. These are your games. You know what I mean? So you come to practice, and then you get out there, and you get on stage and you play. And I think that's the biggest thing. The other thing too is, you know, so many kids now and so many people are device distracted. You know, people spend so much time buried in a phone, buried in a screen. You know, I mean, music is the age-old communicator. I mean, what was the very first signs of communication? Smoke signals and drums, right? Yeah, danger's coming. They'd send a smoke signal and bang on the drum and do a certain thing on the drum. That's how you knew danger was coming across the mountain. But, you know, ultimately, music is still the greatest form of communication. It's worldwide. You know, there is no difference if somebody were to play a Metallica song in Mongolia versus playing a Metallica song here. It's the same thing, right? I mean, okay, so they might sing it in Mongolese, but, you know, ultimately it's still, the music's the same, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately it's the greatest communication language. And I just think, you know, being involved, it gets that device distraction out of the way a little bit and gets people talking. So I just think that's really a big thing with it, which kind of brings us to the next thing about, you know, what to expect. You know, what do you expect to get out of this, and what do we expect out of it? Well, you know, one of which we already touched on it, Jade, is the rehearsal. You know, we expect everybody to be there, you know, once a week, be at these rehearsals, you know, show up. You know, your team is there waiting on you. Your band coach is there waiting on you. Come in prepared. You know, I mean, we expect you to be there prepared. And, you know, the greatest thing is, what can you expect out of it? I think you can expect to be a much better player, right?
Yeah.
I think you can always expect to be a much better player. You'll use what you're learning in your lessons in a band setting. I think there's just so many things. I mean, what have you seen? Because you've worked around this program for a while. You know, what have you seen? I mean, what is the expectations that we've had, and what do you think the payoff has been for the expectations of the students?
I mean, all of those, but like, you know, the shows, like you come in prepared, you know, get all your stuff done, like you can expect just to be a better musician, and then just, you know, kind of all the things that, you know, all those benefits, like you can just expect to really hone your craft, I guess, and just you'll see a huge jump, you know, in your playing and everything, and you know, and all of that. So I mean, you know, and if you don't, then you know, if you come in, you know, you don't come in often, you're not learning your parts, well, you know, you're not going to see that stuff. You know, you're not going to see all those benefits and everything. So the expectations are, you know, have fun, but also, you know, be on time, learn your stuff, you know, make sure you're listening to the instructors. You know, they're great musicians. You know, they know what they're talking about and everything. So you want to always, you know, respect, you know, the elders and people who know a little more, who can help.
They've been there, done that, right? So,
Right, exactly. Yeah, they know what they're talking about. Yeah, they've been in bands, they played around, and they've been teaching, you know, these, you know, so they know what's up, and they're only, you know, they're there to help and
right.
guide. So, so you know, just, you know, have an open mind. You know,
Yeah.
that's also the thing. So.
I think that's a key thing. You know, well said. Have an open mind. You know what I mean? It's I see. And over the years, and we've been doing this now. You know, we've been in business over 25 years. But you know, I tell you, that's the one thing I tell everybody: have an open mind. I mean, that's about anything in life, but especially true with music. Have an open mind. Years ago, before I got in my first, you know, real playing money making band. All I could think about was metal, Metallica, Megadeth, Testament. You know, I mean, I was
Yeah.
total metalhead. You know, and somebody would play a jazz album, I'd just turn my nose up at it and just thought it was the worst thing in the world. Or if somebody played really anything outside of, you know, what my world consisted of at that time of those bands, I just did not really give it a chance. And it really wasn't until I got into, you know, my first playing situation where you know, we were asked to play something other than metal, because people didn't want to hear just metal. I mean, that's not what they came to dance to and have a good time to and that sort of thing. But, you know, and as you get older, I mean, of course, my musical taste changed. I mean, they're a lot different now. Still love Metallica, still love my Megadeth and my metal. I'm still a metalhead at heart. But, you know, ultimately, I mean, my tastes have changed. I don't, you know, don't listen to that as much as I ever did in the past. But yeah, I think a lot of that too is that my mindset changed. You know, I got an open mind to different styles of music, and I got an open mind to it, and just became more optimistic, you know, just in life in general, but also about music, I think, and just really going to it with an open mind. And that's what I tell a lot of the students coming into Rock Academy, or when we talk to students about being involved with it, is to come into it with an open mind, and, you know, come in with that idea of, one, this is going to be fun. Okay. I mean, if you come into it with, oh, this is going to be miserable, then it's going to be, anything's going to be miserable. Okay. But it's going to be fun. And I think sometimes, you know, change is always a little scary. And I think sometimes the fear of the unknown, you know, really gets people. But, you know, ultimately that's what we're here for. That's what the teachers are here for. It's what the band coach is there for, is to make sure everybody's on the same page and we're all having a good time. So I think that's a key thing too, is that, you know, this is a fun event, and to come into it with an open mind, you know, come into it knowing that, hey, I'm going to learn something, you know, and I'm a firm believer. I'm a total believer of life that, you know, you should learn something out of everything. Your greatest failures should also be your biggest teachers. Right. And so I remember some of the bands I played in, man, gosh, I mean, I failed miserably at some of the parts. I botched the drum fills, I botched the intro, I botched the outro, you know, but ultimately I didn't look at it as, oh my gosh, I botched that, I can't believe it, you know, I'm just terrible and blah, blah, blah. I looked at it as a learning experience. I was like, oh man, I messed that up, you know. And I mean, there might have been 10 or 12 really bad mess ups in one night, but I learned from every one of them. And you best believe I didn't go back the next week and make the same mess ups. I learned from them. I might've messed up somewhere else, but I didn't make the same mess up. Right. And so I think that's something to, you know, really take away from it too, is that you're going to learn something. It's going to, like you said, you're going to be a better player. It's going to make you a better player. It's going to make you a better musician. Right. So I think that's the biggest thing, is it's going to make you a better all around musician. So, and I think that kind of leads us to some of the benefits of it. I mean, everything should have a benefit. You know, if you're doing something, there's no real benefit to it, what's the point? Right. I mean, why would you do something? There's all downside, right? I mean, there's got to be upside. And this program, Rock Academy, is full of upside, right? Self-esteem. And Jade, I know over the years that you've been associated with Progressive, how many students have you seen that when they first came in, they were shy, quiet, didn't really take a leadership role, you know, kind of just didn't really have a lot to say. And now look at them.
Oh, plenty. And we've even got one or two staff members too that, you know, were taking lessons with us, and were really quiet. Like myself, I used to be just go in my lesson. Yeah, I started out, you know, with lessons at Progressive, like, what was it, 10 years ago? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, and you got pipes, man. You can sing.
Thanks,
You're a great vocalist. You got pipes, and we never knew that. You're so shy and so quiet, you know. I mean, yeah, absolutely. You're a walking case study, right? I mean, yeah, man. You got involved. We did the thing out there at Five County Stadium for the Mudcats. Remember that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thing for that. Yeah, that was awesome, man. You know, so self-esteem. I mean, gosh, if somebody said, Billy, tell me the number one, you know, what's your top pick for number one thing that, you know, you think somebody would get out of Rock Academy, I would probably say self-esteem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably say self-esteem.
And it's super important just for life too, you know, for kids and for life, you know, because self-esteem, if you feel confident in yourself, you can achieve so much more. But if you're like, oh, well, I don't know, I don't think I'm good enough. But if you're like, yes, I am confident in myself, I know my abilities, you're gonna go out there. You know, these kids, you know, they're do great things, you know, and it's so important too. It's I don't know, myself, and I've seen other students, and it's just awesome just to see the kids bloom, basically. You're like, oh, the little shy seed, and then suddenly, like, one day you turn on, like, wow, what an awesome flower they've become.
I know.
Like, whoa, when did that happen? Like, oh wow, you know, just it's awesome. I don't know.
Yeah, you see him kind of transform right in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great. I mean, you remember the other day, well, no, actually, you weren't in the shop. I was going to say we were sitting there behind the counter, and Paul, one of the drummers in one of Andy's Rock Academies, came in, and he walked by, and I said, "Hey, Paul, how's it going?" And I told Liv, actually, Liv is somebody who works with us at the shop behind the desk, and I told Liv, I said, "Man, gosh," I said, "can you believe how great of a player Paul has become?" And I mean, of course, he's been doing it now for 3 years and been involved in Rock Academy, all that time, and just playing drums and being a great player. But man, what a terrific player! I mean, what a terrific player! And it's like, man, and we've seen it happen right before our eyes. I mean, I remember when he first started, Paul was not that good. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, none of us are, right? I mean, nobody. I mean, there's a very small amount of people on this planet that just sit down, and we've had some of those. We've had some kids come in that just blew it away, but very few of us are just sit down and just blow it away right out of the gate. And Paul was the same way. I mean, there was nothing. We weren't sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, man, Paul is just going to." I mean, he's just incredible. We worked with him, and Paul worked on it hard, and he got in Rock Academy, and man, what a monstrous player he's become since just getting Rock Academy. And we've noticed that too, is that Rock Academy has had a really big impact on his playing just in general, because he's having to learn the songs. He's just playing more, and that's a key. I mean, I remember, years ago when I was playing, when I was just practicing and went from just practicing to practicing and being in a band. Gosh, I played with some guys that I hadn't played with in a couple of years. I went back and played with them. I remember the very first thing they said to me as they turned around, they said, "What have you been doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" And they said, "What, you've been taking lessons or something?" I said, "Oh, kind of off and on here and there." I said, "But just playing in a couple other bands." And they said, "Keep playing in other bands. Keep playing in other bands." I mean, it's just, and that meant a lot to me, because I mean, it just really meant, I mean, that wasn't a put down that, gosh, you were terrible before, but it really meant a lot to me because it showed that, all the playing I was doing, was really paying off. So and that was, there was that self-esteem builder, it really built my self-esteem, because I didn't really at that point really consider myself a very good player at all. And suddenly because these guys were really good players. I mean, I respected them as players, and it really helped. I mean, just them saying just that one thing, "Hey, keep playing other bands." I mean, just that one pat on the back just took me so far. I mean, look how far it's taken me in life. It's like, man, I'm still doing it, still in music. But so I think self-esteem, I think that'd be my number one. Self-awareness, right? I mean, I think that's a big thing to speaking of self-esteem, self-awareness, right? Accomplishment, being able, I mean, we talked about that a second ago with just accomplishing, learning a piece of a song or a whole song, and just getting up there and doing it with other people. The accomplishment of that is huge. That's big. And not to mention, music makes you smarter. Music makes you so much smarter. I mean, you just get on YouTube. I actually typed in what your Barin, BARIN. I meant to say what your brain does on music, but if you just type that in, what your brain does on music, look at all the videos that come up of, these are just scientific proven facts about all the things that happens with your brain. I mean, it's unbelievable. And there's some really good ones up here. I mean, here's a I've watched this before, and it's an hour, so it's a kind of a long deal here, but if you hang in there, this one is really good. This is Your Brain on Music: The Science of Human Obsession. Jade, can you see that? I just want to make sure everybody can see it on the screen here. But and this is Microsoft research. I mean, this is a really good one. The World Science Festival. I've watched this one as well. This is much shorter, by the way. It's only 3 minutes. But neuroscientist talks about the effects of music on the brain, and this is a very good one to watch. But there are so many things out there that are proven scientific studies about what happens with music in the brain, and it's unbelievable. And I tell you, there are, and you'll see, there's several studies, and there's actually a good video about it, that how music changes a brain and changes the wave patterns. But there's actually a video, and I was kind of scrolling through to see if I could find it, because I really want to point it out. There is a video that is done by, I want to say it's MIT, but they did a video on brain waves and what happens with the brain waves when it's actually listening to music, playing music, and learning music, which are the three things that I say make you an active musician: playing, listening, learning, right?
Mhm.
And if you're not doing that, you're a passive musician, meaning that when I say playing music, that means either playing it on Spotify or streaming it, or if you're playing music, playing in a band and actually participating by making sound with an instrument. So there's two different things of playing music that I'm referring to here. But when I say you're an active musician, that is playing, learning, and just being active in the process of making music. And then again, passive would be if you're just playing music and you're not physically learning how to play an instrument or playing an instrument or playing in a band, that sort of thing. But there was a really great video about what is going on with the brain stem, and this might be it right here. This playing musical instruments in the MRI. I think this may be it right here. But they talked about the changes in the brain when that's going on versus the changing in the brain when you're just scrolling through your Facebook or your social media, your Instagram or your Twitter. What happens to the brain waves when you're just scrolling through looking at a screen, right? And it was really, really interesting. I mean, you definitely see the brain wave patterns definitely change. And I'm not saying one's any greater than the other. There was some definite interest there of wow, the brain there's certain parts of the brain that directly affect learning ability, cognitive flexibility, spatial skills, all the things that make us walk, eat, talk, run, jump, that sort of thing. But really critical thinking things, there were a lot of things that were really spiked off the chart with music that didn't happen with just scrolling through what I call device distraction. So I think that is really critical as well, is that Rock Academy has a direct relation on the human body and the human brain in so many different ways. I always say music is like push-ups for the brain. We spend a lot of time exercising our bodies and eating right and trying to make sure our bodies are right, but we don't spend really a fraction of the time exercising the brain. And until we get diagnosed with Alzheimer's or something that really affects the brain, and at that point, then people say, oh, I got to start doing Sudoku or crosswords, and I got to start doing puzzles and really exercising the brain. Whereas I think, if you're exercising your brain throughout your whole life playing music, man, I don't think there's any better defense or prevention than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a grandmother that played piano up until she was in her 90s and never had a lick of memory problems, but on that side of the family, multiple people had early dementia and Alzheimer's. And her doctor said, the neurologist said, when she finally did get to a point where they were just doing some things with her because she was getting up into her late 90s, they finally said, we think what's really safeguarded her and protected her brain is she played piano, for years. I mean, she was an active player. And again, there's that active musician. So I think that's one of the greatest things you can get, the benefits you can get out of playing music, taking lessons, being in a band, being in Rock Academy. Man, I mean, gosh, it's all math and science. It's all math and science. You know? Well, Jade, I think that kind of brings us to the end here. I didn't want to do a super long session today. I think 30 minutes is, about all we really need. But, I just feel like, if people get involved with it and people want information, gosh, they can always call the shop and talk with you. You can walk them through it. They can always go on our website. If you'll just go right here to our website at raleighmusiclessons.com. Learn, play, perform. If you're on the homepage, it's very easy to find it. You just scroll down just a touch here. And you'll see the different things we offer. There's our Rock Academy program right there, which is, it'll just take you right here basically. And if you just click find out more, this will then take you right over to the Rock Academy page. You can link up to our YouTube page. And if you want some general information, you can always go down and you can subscribe to our newsletter. But if you don't just want some general information, feel free to go right up here to the contact link and contact us, or you can always call us at either of the numbers to our Raleigh or Wake Forest shops. And we'll be glad to talk to you about it. We would just love to have people involved in this Rock Academy program. There is a cost, like I said earlier. It's not that expensive. We put it in very small increments to cover the fees for the teacher, the band coach, and that sort of thing. But and it is a commitment. But we would just love to have people involved. And then make sure you get over to our YouTube page and check out some of these videos of these bands practicing and performing. And these kids are just phenomenal, and and we'd love to have all ages. This is not just kids. We've had some adults who've played and done some stuff with us as well, and that's always fun to have too. So, we definitely hope that people will take us up on it. Jay, have you got anything to add? I've kind of sucked up a lot of the talking space here. Have you got anything to add to the?
Oh no, you're great. Tomorrow our meeting, if you guys see this today or early tomorrow, we've got a Rock Academy meeting and show. So our current Rock Academy bands are going to be playing, and then we'll also just be going over more information and seeing what we've got and who's interested and everything. It'll be a lot of fun. So you guys we're interested, please come out to our Wake Forest shop tomorrow. It starts at 6. So
Absolutely. We've got a couple bands actually playing. A couple of our Rock Academy bands, current Rock Academy bands, are going to play, so that way people can see what they sound like and get a feel for it. And I think we're going to Q&A with them a little bit and pick their brain and just just have a really good time with it. And that's what this is all about. It's all about fun. It's all about having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Have fun with it. So. Well, Jay, thanks so much. I really appreciate you hopping up here and joining me on this, and hopefully folks will really get something good out of it. And
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. But so thanks so much, and I will see you in the shop.
Sounds great.
All right. See you, Jade.
Yeah.